Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to games set in the HORUS Heresy. Today we've got a real treat for you, Ultramarines versus Iron Warriors and Mechanicum allies. Matt Carroll's joined us, g'day.
Yep. Hello.
And we have Sam.
Hello.
G'day, Sam. Now, just to quickly explain, Sam, you're borrowing this army today, is that right?
That's right. It's a borrowed Ultramarines army from Michael Bax, who cannot make it here today.
Yeah, unfortunately not. No, he was all set to come on, but he had a last-minute engagement. So Sam has kindly come along, and he's going to command the Ultramarines force for us. So thank you so much for Michael for lending us his army. And we'll put his Instagram up on the bottom. So if you want to follow him or his army, you can do so and go from there. Gents, we've got a lovely armies, as I've said. Matt, your list is pretty solid.
Yeah, it's quite hard. When you write a list on your own, you kind of don't really think about it as much, and then you look at it arrayed out and you think, okay, yeah, it might give some problems. It does lack some scoring capability.
Yeah,
it's not completely without it, but also once someone's in my lines, I'm in trouble because I don't really have a lot of close combat defense.
Okay, that's cool. But yeah, we before we get the game set up, we all go into like a little Facebook chat group thing. We'll show each other's list and try and balance it as much as possible. And I was really worried about Matt's list, and I said, "Oh, maybe we can just tone it down just a tiny bit." So I think we've done that, and it's quite successful now, isn't it? And you two guys have had a tester game as well, haven't you?
That's
yes.
Right, yeah.
So, and it worked reasonably well in your test, if I understand. Is that right?
Reasonably well, yeah.
Yeah, we played Dominion, and
Good.
yeah, objectives-wise, it's
all right.
The difficulty is clearing people off objectives fast enough.
This is true. And Sam, lots of troops in your list.
Very troopy army, yeah. Lots of scoring units though, which is always great. And they die so quickly.
Yeah, this is true. We are playing a Dominion mission, and those Ultramarines will need those troops because you've got a lot of firepower coming your way. Eh? And it's good to see as well. We've got a Leviathan, but no drop pod. So congratulations. You deserve 10 points already just for that. So walk-in Leviathan, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with that if it weathers the storm well enough to get into any sort of combat.
Fantastic, nice. And Matt, you've brought a smattering of Mechanicum with you. Obviously, I'm quite familiar with Mechanicum. You've only got 3-4 models, but that's still a lot of firepower.
Yeah, it's really their job is the AP2, because the list also doesn't have any AP2 in it. So yeah, and people often overlook the Castellax in close combat too. But yeah, they can dish out some firepower when they want to, and the Archmagos can help them do that. Yeah,
I had a game recently at Zone Mortalis where a guy brought a Dominus on the Bayon, Machinator Array, Phosphate Bombs, and it was just an absolute beast. 3 up invulnerable, 3 up save, or 2 up save. It was like, God. But they are a solid unit. And Fire Raptor as well, Sam.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be able to lay down some fire. Maybe more of an annoyance unit than anything else, but just kind of mix things up, give it another dimension to the field.
Yeah, it'll be good that. And obviously to counter that, you've brought flak missiles on your guys, haven't you?
Yeah, the Havocs. The Havocs are pretty. Can be pretty difficult. They've got Tank Hunter. They reduce cover saves by 1, and they come stock with flak missiles. So those things make life a bit hard for flyers, even if they want to jink. So yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Well, gents, we're in a city fight board today, aren't we? Lots of line of sight blockers. It's a new table we've not featured on the channel before. So the terrain was painted by Liam at Phoenix Commissions, and a lot of the larger buildings we got there are made by Griff from Unreal War Games. So thank you so much, Griff, for those. They are absolutely spectacular. I'm really looking forward to this. I can't pick which way it's going to go. The Ultramarines have got a really great advantage by numbers, but the Iron Warriors and Mechanicum have got some serious firepower. So we'll see how it plays out. Gents, should we get onto lists?
Absolutely.
Great stuff.
2,500 points of Iron Warriors, led by a Warsmith, running Hammer of Olympia Rite of War with an allied Mechanicum detachment. Warlord is Warsmith in Terminator armour, Cataphractii armour. He's got a combi weapon, combi melter, and he's got a chain fist. There's then a Master of Signal. He's in Artificer armour, has a bolt pistol and a chainsword. And finally, a Archmagos Dominus with a Power Axe mastercrafted, an Augury Scanner, a Cyber Familiar, a Machinator Array, and an Abeyant. Troops. Tactical squad, 9 tactical marines with bolters, frag and crack grenades, and a sergeant with artificer armour and a bolter. They're in a rhino which has extra armour for free because of the Rite of War, and there are 3 squads that are exactly the same as this. Heavy support, 5 Iron Havocs with autocannons and an Iron Havoc sergeant with artificer armour and an autocannon. Second heavy support choice is a unit of Havocs, 4 Havocs armed with missile launchers which have frag, crack and flak missiles, and a sergeant who has artificer armour. That's also my third heavy support choice, as there's another squad. Fourth heavy support choice is 5 Tyrant Siege Terminators in cataphractii armour with cyclone missile launchers, power fists and combi bolters. The sergeant has a chain fist. And in my allied detachment of Mechanicum, I have 1 Thanatar with a Helix plasma siege mortar and 2 Castellax automata with darkfire cannons and enhanced targeting arrays.
2,500 points of Ultramarines, running the Logos Loctorum Rite of War, led by Praetor. HQ, Praetor with Boarding Shield and Paragon Blade, and Artificer Armour, accompanied by a Master of Signals, also with Artificer Armour. Elite choice number 1 is a 5-man Cataphractii Terminator squad, 3 of which are armed with a Combi Bolter and Power Fist. 1 is armed with an autocannon and Power Fist, and the Sergeant is armed with a Combi Bolter and Chain Fist. Elite choice number 2 is a Contemptor Dreadnought armed with a Dreadnought Close Combat Weapon, Plasma Blaster, Carey's Assault Cannon, and he also has extra armour. Elite choice number 3 is a Quad Launcher Support Battery with Shatter Shells. Troop choices 1 and 2 are 2 identical 10-man Tactical Marine squads with Legion Vexilla, and the Sergeant is equipped with a Power Sword and Artificer Armour. Troop choice number 3 is a 10-man Breacher squad with a Legion Vexilla, all equipped with Power Swords and Boarding Shields, and the Sergeant is also equipped with Artificer Armour. Fourth and final troop choice is a Legion Support squad armed with Volkite Calivers, and the Sergeant has Artificer Armour. Fourth and final troop choice is a Legion Support squad with Volkite Calivers. Fast attack choice number 1 is a 5-man Seeker squad. The Sergeant is armed with a Power Fist and also has Artificer Armour. Heavy support choice number 1 is a Legion Heavy Support squad armed with autocannons. Heavy support choice number 2, moving on to the bigger stuff now, with a Legion Sicaran armed with Heavy Bolter Sponsons. Heavy support choice number 3 is a Leviathan Siege Dreadnought armed with a Storm Cannon, filthy Phosphex Discharges, twin-linked Volkite Calivers, a Leviathan Siege Claw, and also has Armoured Ceramite. Fourth and final heavy support choice is a Legion Fire Raptor gunship armed with Hellstrike missiles and autocannon ball turrets.
We're here, all deployed, ready to go. Iron Warriors with Mechanicum allies and Ultramarines. Gents, it's looking to be a great game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Really looking forward to this one. We're on a city fight, first time for the channel, so thank you so much. Currently, Iron Warriors going first, is that right?
Yeah, and hopefully a bloody turn of shooting, turn 1.
Sam, now you would like first turn, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Excellent stuff. All right, well, let's have a friendly handshake.
Good luck.
Best of luck, mate.
Yeah, you
Great
too.
stuff. And let's see if the Ultramarines can seize.
Let's have a jammy 6 to start the day. No.
Oh, it's a
Quite
one.
the opposite.
The opposite.
Okay, Iron Warriors, turn 1.
Iron Warriors turn 1 movement. The Tyrant Siege Terminators have moved up to start to get a better view of the battlefield, as has the Master of Signal and the Rhino. The Iron Havocs have stayed where they are, so they can start to lay some firepower down, and the Thanatar stayed where he is, so that he can start to throw some plasma over towards the Ultramarines deployment zone. The Archmagos has moved up to support the Rhino and the Castellax, and the Iron Havocs have started to move up into that building to get a better view. Finally, the 2 Rhinos on the left have moved up thinking about the objectives without overextending, and the Iron Havocs in the corner have stayed where they are to fire some missiles. Iron Warriors turn 1 shooting. The Thanatar's using the Nuncio Vox from the Warsmith to target the tactical squad of Ultramarines at the back. He's scored a direct hit without scattering, and he's killing 5 Marines on 2s. So that's 4 dead Marines.
Lovely.
The Master of Signals is going to boost the Siege Tyrant Terminator's ballistic skill by 1, and they're going to fire at the tactical squad that's just been hit by the Thanatar. So they're hitting on 2s. It's not bad, 2 misses, and they're also wounding on 2s. So that is 6 wounds.
Okay, we're going to go for a cover save on those guys. We're going to elect to go to ground to increase that cover save to a 4+. And that's not bad, actually. So I think
Very
that's 2 dead. We're going to go for a leadership test on this tactical squad that's just lost 6 Marines. We're against leadership 9. Oh, just.
The Castellax are going to fire at the Terminators with their Darkfire cannons. They have enhanced targeting, so they're hitting on 2s, but they have Gets Hot, so I'm going to roll them 1 Castellax at a time. So 1 Castellax hits with both. 1 Castellax gets hot. He needs to make a save on a 3-up, and he fails, so he takes a wound. But we've still scored 3 hits, and they're wounding on 2s. So that's 2 saves to make on the Terminators.
So a 4-up emblem for the Cataphracti. 1 bites the bullet.
And you'll need a blind check.
I need a blind check as well. Which fails.
So their weapon skill and ballistic skill 1, not too bad, although I have wounded myself. Iron Havocs are shooting at the autocannon squad in the building. Warlord trait gives us Shatter Defences, which reduces the cover save by 1. Iron Havocs also have a special rule that also reduces cover saves by 1. However, we are night fighting, so in total that makes a 5-up cover save. Sam's elected to go to ground, so that's going to increase his cover save to a 4-up. But first we need to roll hits. We're shooting crack missiles, which are Strength 8, AP 3, and there are 5 of them. So we're hitting on 2s, and very poor round of shooting there. We only score 2 hits, and we're wounding on 2s. 2 wounds.
So that's 2 cheeky 4-up cover saves. Oh, just 1.
So 1 guy bites the dust. If I'm honest, I expected a bit more from the Havocs that turn, but hopefully they'll make up for it. To end the shooting phase, we ran the Havocs, and I also flat out the Rhino to get into a better position for next turn. Overall, quite a good turn of shooting, caused some significant casualties on the tactical squad, and also blinded the Terminator squad. So setting up for a good turn of shooting next turn.
Ultramarines turn 1 movement, spurred on by the fact that they've taken not so devastating casualties. Most of them have moved forward. The only units that have stayed stationary is the Heavy Support Squad, the Quad Mortar Squad, and the Seeker Squad. Everything else has moved into a more advantageous position in terms of shooting. Ultramarines turn 1 shooting. First thing we're going to do is hit this Rhino over there with the Quad Mortar hitting on 3s. That's 4 shots. So that's 2 hits. And then we're glancing on 3s, penning on 4s, re-rolled.
Wow.
So 2 pens, beautiful.
So I'm going to hope that the night cover is going to give me a 6-up save. I'm not that hopeful, but let's find out. So 2 saves. Nope. So that is 2 pens.
Fantastic. We're rolling the damage table. So that's a shaken and weapon destroyed result, and the only weapon to destroy is a combi bolter. Next thing that's going to happen, this Leviathan's going to open up on the Castellax with its storm cannon. 6 shots, hitting on 2s. Couple of 7. That's all but 1 hit, and that will be 4s to wound. And a total of 3 saves to make.
So the Castellax have an inborn of a 5-up, so we're going to try and make that now. They don't make any, so they're going to take 3 wounds. They're 4 wounds apiece.
Brilliant round of shooting just to open up the game. We've had a destroyed Castellax from the opening barrage from the Leviathan. The Leviathans followed up with a Volkite volley, but done absolutely nothing with it. The next shooting attack the Ultramarines are going to make is the Sicaran is going to get buffed by the Master of Signals and shoot into this Iron Warriors team on the building with his accelerated cannons, which are 6 shots, twin linked, hitting on 2s. So that's 4 hits, but these are twin linked. So all hit. And they're wounded on 2s. So that's 5 wounds with 1 rend.
The Iron Warrior is going to get a cover save. They're in the building, which is a 4-up, and they've got night fighting, which is going to take that to a 3-up. So 6 cover saves of 3-ups. So that's 2 failed cover saves, so that's 2 dead Havocs from the Sicaran so far.
The Sicaran's now opened up with its heavy bolters on that same squad, inflicting 3 wounds.
So we've got 3 more 3-ups to make, and we fail another 1. So that is 3 dead Havocs.
This heavy support squad has had a snap shoot at these Iron Warriors over here, but caused no casualties. Just to go over the Ultramarines run move, we have this tactical support squad, Contemptor, the Breacher squad, and this tactical squad all run up. Thanks to the Logos Loctora, which allows me to re-roll run moves, we've had some more successful running than we would otherwise have had. Highlights of that round would definitely be destroying that Castellax.
Iron Warriors turn 2 movement. The Iron Havocs have stayed where they are, ready to lay some firepower down. Tactical squad number 1 have moved up in the Rhino and disembarked, using the Rhino for cover. The second Rhino's moved up, ready to start thinking about the midfield objectives. The Castellax has retreated slightly. The Iron Havocs have stayed where they are, even though there's only 2 of them now. The Archmagos has started to move towards the main Ultramarine lines. The other Havoc squad and the Thanatar and the Master of Signal have stayed where they are, again, to lay some firepower down. The Tyrant Siege Terminators have started to move across to try and get themselves into the fight rather than out of it, where they're quite out of position at the moment. And finally, the other tactical squad have used the Rhino to move up and start to get near the objectives. Turn to Iron Warriors shooting. So I've used the Rite of Destruction from the Archmagos on the Thanatos to enable him to fire twice, although he won't be able to fire next turn now. He's been quite successful in the damage that he's done. He's taken out 6 tactical marines, a breacher, and he's also destroyed the Leviathan Siege Claw and scored a hull point on the Leviathan. So all in all, a very impressive round of shooting from the Thanatar. Let's hope the rest of the Iron Warriors can follow suit. The Master of Signals buffed the Siege Tyrants up to BS5, and they're firing crack missiles at the Leviathan Dreadnought in the hope of finishing it off. They've scored 2 glancing hits, and the Leviathan has a 4-up invuln.
Let's go for it. 4-up invuln. He fails 1.
The Iron Havocs are firing at the remaining members of the tac squad. They've scored 8 wounds total, and it's now down to the tac squad to make their saves.
Yeah, because the Sergeant has a 2-up save from his Artificer Armour, rolling in 3s. So it's 2 dead already. Well, I guess I'll just roll them 1 at a time. Final normal guy dead, and these are all 4 on the Artificer Armour. Which he passes.
Just the Sergeant left.
Just the Sergeant on his own. We've had a brutal round of shooting from the Iron Warriors, but luckily the Ultramarines have passed their leadership tests and aren't phased whatsoever.
So the Castellax is going to try and start chipping away at the quad mortar. So he's hitting on 2s with the Dark Fire Cannon, which fires 2 shots, gets hot. None of them get hot, so they both hit. And they are wounding on 4s. So that's 1 wound at AP2. So I've scored 1 wound on the quad mortar, and there's a 6-up cover save.
6 up, come on. Nope. And let's do a blind check, which is at initiative 4.
Passes. The Havocs have started to whittle down at the Breacher's squad. They've made 4 hits and 4 casualties. Unfortunately, the Breacher's boarding shields weren't enough to save them. The remaining 2 Havocs have fired into the Breacher squad that's already taken some casualties, and they've managed to take out another Breacher. Iron Warriors turn 2 shooting. Excellent round of shooting. The Havocs really pulled their finger out and inflicted some serious casualties in a number of squads. The Thanatar also put a giant hole in the line of the Ultramarines with some really nasty plasma mortars. The Leviathan's lost its Siege Claw, which was a big threat to some of my higher toughness units, and the Siege Tyrants also inflicted some serious casualties. All in all, very good round, and also put myself in a good position to score some objectives next turn.
Ultramarines turn 2 movement, considerably less stuff to move up this turn. Some noteworthy things that have happened. The Fire Raptor's now come on out of reserves, luckily, so that's going to try and cause some trouble over this side. The HQ has joined the squad of Terminators, as the rest of his squad are dead, and everybody else has just sort of crept steadily towards the objective to try and put some pressure on the Iron Warriors to take more of them out. Ultramarines turn 2 shooting. The first thing that's going to happen, the Fire Raptor is going to fire its 3 Hellstrike missiles at this team of Iron Havocs. That's Strength A, AP2, and we're hitting on 2s for strafing run. So all hit. That's 2s to wound. So 2 wounds.
So the Master of Signal is on a 2-up save. He's going to look out Sir the 2 wounds to the Iron Havocs around him. So he's looking out on a 2-up. So he makes 1 and he makes the other. So that's 2 dead Havocs.
The Fire Raptor's going to open up on the same unit of Iron Havocs with his Avenger Bolt Cannon. That's 7 shots, twin linked, 2s to hit. Twin linked. That's all hit. And as it's strength 6, we're winning on 2s. So all but 2.
So that's 5 saves to make. On the Master of Signal, who's got 2 up, but because of where he is in relation to the squad, we're going to have to take those one at a time. So he's okay. He's still okay. He's still okay. And he's tanked them.
The remaining auto cannon turrets on the Fire Raptor have fired at the Iron Havocs in this building and as well at the Thanatar, doing absolutely nothing to either team because of their devastating armor saves. The Terminators have opened up on this Majos and done absolutely nothing with all of their weapons because of the armor saves once again. The next thing that's going to happen for the Ultramarine shooting, the Sakaran's going to fire at this team of Iron Havocs in the corner with its twin-linked accelerator auto cannons. So that's 3s to hit, twin-linked. So we've got 4 hits to start with, twin linked. Now we've got 5 hits total, 2s to wound. And that's all wounds with 1 rend.
So the Sergeant's going to take a lookout, sir, from the rending hit on a 4 up. He fails, so now he's on a cover save of a 5 up, which he also fails. So the Sergeant's dead, and the remaining hits go into the squad who are on a 3 up save. So that is 3 dead Havocs plus the Sergeant. Very good round of shooting from the Sakaran.
The Sikaran's fired its remaining 9 shots from its heavy bolters, its remaining Iron Havoc, and he's still standing and refuses to die, so we're going to have to deal with him next turn, I think. The next thing the Ultramarines have done with their shooting, the Master of Signals is trying to drop an orbital bombardment on this unit of Iron Havocs on the far side of the field, doing nothing, as it scattered the full 12 inches. His accompanying team of heavy support then tried to shoot it, again doing absolutely nothing. But on the bright side, we have destroyed a Rhino on this flank with the quad mortar. The Contemptor Dreadnought's going to fire his Carey's assault cannon at this team of tactical marines that have disembarked from the destroyed Rhino. We're hitting on 2s with this weapon. So that's 5 hits. Now we need 2s to wound and 6s to rend. So that's 3 wounds and 1 rend.
Okay, so I've got a 5 up cover save for the intervening terrain. So that's failed, so that's 1 dead marine, and then 3 more regular 3 up saves, which I pass. So 1 dead Iron Warrior.
We've also fired the Plasma Blaster at this team of tactical marines, killing an additional 1, bringing them down to a total of 8. After firing the Leviathan Storm Cannon at the Castellax, we managed to inflict 4 wounds, which now need to be saved.
So the Castellax is on a 3 up, but the Leviathan Storm Cannon's AP 3, so I'm down to my 5 up invulnerable save. Technically the Castellax can die, but he tanks it and he only takes 1 wound.
The Leviathan's now fired the Volkite at the Castellax as well and only taken 1 wound off it. We've opened up again on the Castellax with the Volkite team, and it just absolutely refuses to die and is weathering virtually everything we're throwing at it at this point. Shooting around for the Seekers, they fired their Tempest bolt shells into this team of tactical marines and managed to inflict 4 wounds, which now need to be saved.
So 4 3 up saves, and we take 2 casualties.
Ultramarines turn to assault phase. The Cataphractii have tried and failed to charge the Majos, who hit them with a flamer but did nothing to them. Now the Contemptor on this other side of the field has been much more successful, managing to charge into these team of tactical marines and is now going to cause some havoc. Now the Contemptor Dreadnought's charging this team of tactical marines. It's managed to kill 1 marine already with its Hammer of Wrath, and now we're going to roll to see what it does with its close combat weapon. It needs 3s to hit. So it's 3 hits, and now we need 2s to kill. And that's 3 dead marines. Great result. Now that we've won combat by a total of 4, we get to make a leadership roll on these tactical marines.
So the tactical marines have got a leadership of 9, so they need to pass on 5 or less. And they fail, so now we need to do an initiative roll.
Brilliant.
Oh.
Nope, terrible.
They get away. So the Iron Warriors have failed morale, so they're going to fall back 2d6. They go back a total of 9 inches, and now the Contemptor will consolidate.
Attempt a consolidation roll. 2. Ultramarines turn to summary. It's very much 2 halves of the battle. We've got the one side on the right hand side where we are making some really decent progress, virtually destroyed a couple of teams, whereas it's a completely different story on this left hand side where we've done virtually nothing to virtually everything over here, but that's not so bad because all of our forces were concentrated on that right hand side, so we're not too fussed about that.
So Iron Warriors, turn 3, movement. The Tyrant Siege Terminators have moved across the board. to start to get into the fight on the right hand side where most of the Ultramarines are. The tactical squad scored an objective down by the containers. The Thanatars moved, as he can't shoot this turn because he fired twice last turn. The Havocs and the Master of Signal have stayed put. The Rhino that can still move has moved over the tank traps and unfortunately immobilised itself, so the tactical squad have disembarked to move towards the objectives in the centre. The Magos has moved into the enemy lines and the Castellax has moved over towards the Contemptor. All of the Havocs have stayed where they are to put out some firepower. And the remaining 3 Iron Warrior Tactical Marines have unfortunately fled off the board, having lost the will to fight. Iron Warriors turn 3 shooting. The remaining 2 Iron Havocs are going to fire at the Fire Raptor using flak missiles, which they come with as standard. So they're BS5 hitting on 2s. So 1 hit, 1 miss. And they are Strength 7 with Tank Hunter. So they have penned the Fire Raptor. The Ultramarines have elected to jink. The Iron Havocs reduce cover saves by 1, so they're jinking on a 5.
5 up jink save. And he saves it.
Not what I wanted to happen. The Iron Havocs have fired into the Breacher squad. They scored 6 hits, all of which then went on to wound. And unfortunately, the Breachers didn't save any of those wounds on their power armour, and the Sergeant's the only man left.
After that vicious volley, the Ultramarines have managed to collect themselves and pass their leadership test, so they're not running anywhere.
The Tyrant Siege Terminators are going to risk some snap shooting into the Fire Raptor. So they're hitting on 6s. That's 1 hit. And they are glancing on 4s. That's nothing.
Brilliant.
So the Fire Raptor's safe. Damn. The Castellax has fired his Darkfire Lance into the Contemptor. He saved one of the Gets Hots rolls, and the second hit then went on to penetrate the Contemptor and immobilise him, so he's now stuck there doing nothing. The Archmagos has levelled his Inferno pistol at the Cataphractii Terminators. He's turned his Steely Gaze to them, he's hit, he's wounded and melted one of them into a horrible mess of armour and blood. The Lone Havoc at the back of the board has fired a crack missile into the Leviathan Dreadnought. He's hit it, he's glanced it, and unfortunately the Leviathan has failed its invuln save, so it's taken another hull point. The Master of Signals tried to fire at the support squad with the Volkite. Unfortunately, the Scatters missed them entirely and not clipped anything else. The remaining tactical squad have run to try and secure the objective in the centre of the board, and the Rhino from the other tactical squad has flat-outed to get more into the fight. Iron Warriors turn 3 assault. The Magos has elected to charge into the Terminator squad. He's taken some hits in Overwatch, but none of them have got through his armour, so he's okay. He's made his charge, and now the Ultramarines are going to hit first because they have initiative.
Yeah, like we've said, the Praetor sees the initiative, so we're going to have 3 attacks first of all on 3s to hit with his Paragon Blade. That's 2 hits, and then we need 5s to wound or 6s to cause instant death wounds. So no wounds.
The Magos is now going to hit back. He has 2 attacks. He doesn't get any bonuses for charging because of the boarding shield that's in the squad that he charged. So he's hitting on 4s. Both hit. And he's wounding on 2s. So that's 1 wound at AP2.
4 up invuln save on... Nope, that's a failed save.
So the Archmagos has wounded one of the Terminators and taken them out of the combat, although they're striking at the same time, so we'll get to hit back. The Archmagos is now going to hit with his Machinator array, which gives him 2 attacks at initiative 1, with a strength of +1, so making that strength 5, and shred. So neither of those hit, so that's it for the Archmagos this round of combat.
The Cataphractii Terminators now get to retaliate with their weapons, so they get 6 attacks hitting on 4s. So that's 4 hits. And now it's 2s to wound, re-rolling 1s for the Child of Terror Warlord trait. So that's 4 wounds.
The Archmagos has got a 2 up, 3 up, because he has a Cyber Familiar, so he's going to need to take these on his 3 up invuln. He fails 1, he has Feel No Pain on a 5 up, which fails, so he takes a wound. Overall, a very good round for the Iron Warriors. They've immobilised the Dreadnought. They've managed to get into a good position to score some objectives next turn. The Archmagos has done okay in combat. He's taken down a Terminator. He has taken a wound it will not die has not allowed him to regain it this turn, but hopefully he'll get it back in a future turn. And now it's just ready to take the firepower coming back from the Ultramarines.
Ultramarines turn 3 movement. First of all, we have a living sergeant over here who's just moved and used the Iron Warriors Rhino as cover, and because no one's neglected to kill him, he's now at full liberty to take that objective for himself. The Volkite support squad over this side has managed to move up into more of an advantage to take the objective straight in front of them. Unfortunately, with the Contemptor being immobilised, that's not able to make any more progress doing what that's doing over there. Every other unit has made an attempt to sort of creep as slowly as it can do towards any other of the objectives, except for this Seeker squad on the left-hand side, who's managing to just flank round the outside, hoping to get some cheeky shots off at this tactical squad over this left-hand flank. Ultramarines turn 3 shooting. We're going to start with the Contemptor taking some shots at this Castellax. With the last of his energies now that he's mobilised, he has 6 shots, hitting on 2s. That's some good shooting, and then we're winning on 5s, running on 6s. So 1 rend and 1 wound.
So the Castellax has a 3-up save and a 5-up invuln, so I'm going to take the invuln first on a 5-up, which he fails, and then his 3-up save, which he also fails, so he's down to his last wound.
The Contemptor's now going to fire his Plasma Blaster to try and finish off this Castellax. We've got 2 shots at 2s to hit. That's 2 hits. Now we need 4s to wound. No, nothing. Now we're going to shoot at the Castellax with this quad mortar in an effort to finish him off. We're on 2s to hit because we're buffed by the Master of Signals. Let's roll that. So they all hit. Now we're on 3s to wound, re-rolling 1s because we've already fired at this model with a separate unit. So that's 3 wounds.
So he's got 3 3-up saves to make. I don't fancy his chances. Oh, but he's made it.
Finally, after much hardship, the Castellax has been put down by the heavy support squad. You'll notice a lovely vacant space where it used to be. And now this Volkite squad have ran up to take this objective in time for the next turn. The Ultramarines Seeker squad has fired some Tempest bolt shells into this tactical squad, this time to much better effect, managing to clear them off this objective, making it clear for them to advance to it next turn. The Leviathan's now opened up with his Phosphex launchers, and it's 3s to kill after getting 11 hits on this tactical squad. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead Marines. Sadly, the Phosphex was the only thing that really had any effect on these Marines. The Volkite has taken down 1, but nothing else really had any effect. The Sicarans now hit this remainder of the tactical squad that the Seekers wounded earlier and absolutely wiped them from the table with a combination of its autocannon and heavy bolt sponsons. The Ultramarines have had some jinked shooting from the Fire Raptor, which has managed to take out one of the Iron Havocs up here, the Sergeant. It's managed to take out 2 tactical Marines which were on this objective at the lower level, and it's also taken a hull point off the Rhino to its right. Getting towards the end of the shooting phase now, this Space Marine Sergeant is throwing a crack grenade at the Rhino, managing to stun it and strip a hull point. The team next to it has just ran up 6 inches to capture the objective, and this final Breach Marine is taking shelter now that all his mates are dead in the blown out building. Ultramarines turn 3 assault phase. First of all, this lone sergeant has tried to power sword the rear armour of this Rhino to no effect whatsoever. We've also had a failed charge from the Leviathan into the tactical squad, which was a 10-inch charge, I think, which obviously was going to fail. We've also lost the Terminator to the Magos, but we have taken a wound off the Magos as well, so it's a pretty fair fight.
Iron Warriors turn 4 movement. The Siege Tyrants have moved up to get a good line of sight throughout the battlefield to cover off the Ultramarines down at one end of the field, but also give them options on the Seeker squad in the back corner. The Iron Havocs have stayed where they are, as has the Thanatar. The Iron Havocs with the missile launchers, of which there's only 1 left in each squad, have also stayed where they are. The remaining Rhino from the tactical squad, who are now dead, has moved to give some cover to the tactical squad, who have scored and claimed that objective in the centre of the field. And the Magos is still in combat, so that concludes the movement. Iron Warriors turn 4 shooting. The lone Iron Havoc seen the Leviathan walking over towards the tactical squad, and he's taken a shot with his crack missile. He's scored a penetrating hit on the Leviathan, so it's a really important 4-up invuln that the Leviathan needs to make now. And he makes it. The Thanatar is trying to target the Volkite squad to clear them off the objective. Because it can't see them, it's scattered the full distance, which is 10 inches, onto the Contemptor. Scored a penetrating hit, however the Contemptor's invulnerable save has saved it from any damage. The Siege Tyrant's targeting the Leviathan. They fired 10 crack missiles of it, only 3 of which have hit, and only 1 of which has scored a glancing hit, so it's now got to save that to stay alive. And it does.
Again.
The Iron Havocs are taking some snapshots at the Fire Raptor. They've managed to hit an unusually high amount. They've scored 3 hits, 2 of which have glanced, and the Ultramarines elected not to jink. So that's taking it down to its last hull point. Iron Warriors turn 4 combat. The combat's continued between the Iron Warriors and the Ultramarines. The Magos has managed to use a combination of his Power Axe and Machinator Array to take down the remaining Terminators and take a wound off the Praetor. The Praetor's held his resolve and the combat carries on.
Ultramarines turn 4 movement, most notably the Fire Raptor's gone into hover mode, probably to its demise, but that means it can get some good shots away at these Terminators below it. The Seekers have also moved up to the objective so that it's got in a good position to capture the objectives and get a shot away at these Terminators. And finally, crucially, we've had 2 victory points from these captured objectives down the right-hand side of the field here by these 2 tactical squads. Ultramarines turn 4 shooting. There's been a devastating damage output from the Fire Raptor this time. Moving clockwise, we've got first the destroyed Rhino in the middle of the field, taken out by one of the autocannons. Then we've lost 2 Terminators of the Iron Warriors to the Avenger bolt cannons, and then on the right-hand side of it, by the other autocannon ball turret, the sergeant of this heavy support team has also been killed. Ultramarines have fired their Sicaran in its entirety at these Terminators, doing absolutely nothing to it, which is about what I expected, seeing the amount of fire they've weathered this turn already. After firing the Carey's assault cannon and plasma blaster at this one remaining Iron Warriors Iron Havoc, it's managed to destroy it, but at the expense of one of the hull points lost in the Contemptor from a Gets Hot roll. Finally, after many failed attempts, this sergeant's managed to cheekily throw a crack grenade down the exhaust pipe of this Rhino, destroying it after much toil and effort. The Ultramarine shooting phase continues, firing the quad mortar wildly at this team of Terminators, scattering into absolutely nowhere to no effect whatsoever. Next, the heavy support team above the quad mortar did have quite a bit more effect by shooting at the remaining Iron Havoc in this building over here and taking it out. In the Ultramarine shooting phase, this Leviathan's had a really good go at this tactical squad, but not living up to its reputation whatsoever, only taking down 1 tactical Marine, the Artificer Alarma really keeping that sergeant alive. Ultramarines turn 4 assault phase, the Legion Praetor has managed to hit and wound the Magos with his Paragon Blade, rolling a 6, so this is instant death unless we roll a 3 to save it.
So it's a big roll, 3 up, keeps the Magos alive.
Oh! Beautiful.
He's dead.
Slain. End of the Ultramarines turn 4. As you can see, the Blue Boys are now in a much more dominant position on the board than they were earlier. The enemy HQ, Magos, has been slain, as well as thinning out virtually all the rest of the ranks. It's now looking like we're in a very strong position to take the game.
Iron Warriors turn 5 movement. Not many units left to move now. The Havocs have stayed where they are to try and get some quality firepower out. The Master of Signals moved closer to the Tyrant Siege Terminators, who've moved up so they can get a better shot at the Seeker squad. The Thanatar has not moved, and the lone sergeant, has made a objective point behind the Rhino and has tucked in behind the Rhino to try and weather the storm that's about to come his way from the Ultramarines who are bearing down on him. Iron Warriors turn 5 shooting. The Iron Havocs are equipped with autocannons. They've taken the opportunity, they've seen the Fire Raptor swoop down into hover mode, and they've taken the opportunity to take their shot. They've all hit, and they've scored 3 penetrating hits and 1 glancing hit. Because they have a special rule that negates cover saves by 1, the jink saves are now at a 5 up.
Okay, so we need 3 5-ups for the pens. And we make 0 of them. And 1 final one for the glance. So we don't make that either.
Iron Warriors turn 4 summary. The Havocs have brought down the Fire Raptor, so that's great, because otherwise I didn't have anything to really deal with that. The Thanatar has missed horribly on the Seeker squad, really needed to clear those off so that they weren't scoring a victory point. And the Tyrant Siege Terminators have also had a rather suboptimal round of shooting against the same Seeker squad. Other than that, the only other thing that's happened is the sergeant has decided to get out of dodge and clear off that objective as the wall of Ultramarines march towards him.
Ultramarines turn 5, potential last turn of the game. Most significantly, we're extending our lead with a further 3 victory points, secured by these tactical squads over here. The Leviathans move further into the centre to try and sweep up this last annoying little Iron Warrior in the middle. The Sicaran has managed to not move anywhere and immobilise itself, and the Seekers have stayed exactly where they are, like I said, secure that victory point. Ultramarines turn 5 shooting. The Seekers have elected to use their Scorpius rounds, which are strength 5 AP2 shred, to destroy 2 of the Terminators, taking them down to just 1 Terminator and the Warsmith remaining. Continuing with the Ultramarine shooting, the Leviathans elected to fire his Storm Cannon into this final Iron Warriors Tactical Marine Sergeant, destroying him twice actually with his Storm Cannon. Sicaran has decided to open up with all of its weapons onto this Terminator squad, managing to finish off the Terminators and deal 1 wound to the Warsmith. The Quad Mortar is elected to fire across the map at this heavy support squad, only managing to kill 1, I'm afraid though, due to the hardened armour. End of Ultramarines turn 5. It's been a pretty devastating mop-up operation to work towards that attrition objective. The Space Marine Sergeant from the centre of the board has been destroyed. The Terminator squad has also been destroyed, and every other unit has been reduced beyond its effective capability, really. So now we're going to roll to see if we get a turn 6.
What a game it's been. Ultramarines versus Iron Warriors. We are at turn 5, gentlemen. Lots of units have died, haven't they?
Many.
A hell of a lot.
And lots of points have been scored too.
Yes, mainly by the Ultramarines.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with the amount of points that have been scored.
Yeah, you've both done really, really well. Now, Matt, with your Iron Warriors, you have something called Bitter Iron. Can you just quickly tell us about that, please?
Yes, yeah, the bitter end. So it's a Legion trait, and what it means is in a game where there's random game length, the opponent may force the game to go to the maximum number of available turns if they choose.
Cool. And Sam, are you bothered about a 6th turn?
I don't think I'm going to make advantage of that rule whatsoever, to be honest with you.
All right, great stuff. But we still need to roll because it is random game length. Sam, you're rolling, is that right?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's see what happens.
Ready?
Oh, that's it. The game has ended, gents. Let's have a little friendly handshake.
Good game.
Very well played.
Well played, mate.
And we will tot up the victory points. Ultramarines versus Iron Warriors with Mechanicum allies. Matt, what a game.
Very good game, very bloody. Lots of units either reduced completely or down to way below fighting strength.
It was a bit wild. And Sam, I think you did a really great job commanding the Ultramarines of Michael there. So good work.
Yeah, well, like I say, incredible game, really two-sided, really two really good armies, really good terrain as well. Probably made for a good game.
It was awesome. Now, should we get on to the results?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's a bit of a whitewash, but the victory conditions were Slay the Warlord, which nobody achieved.
Nope.
And then there was the attrition. So if you scored more enemy units than your opponent, you got an additional D3. And Ultramarines did a fantastic job. But crucially, unfortunately, Matt, there was loads of like 1 or 2 models left in the auction, but you just didn't pink them off just to get those final victory points. So Sammy did a great job of targeting those units and destroying them and taking the victory points. So you get a D3 roll for attrition. So would you mind just rolling that for us?
Straight away. It's a 6.
Jeez Louise.
Theme of the day.
He rolls the big 6. Okay. Well, I can reveal that the Iron Warriors scored 3 victory points and the Ultramarines scored a massive 9 victory points.
Brilliant,
so congratulations.
Really well played,
Sam.
Good game.
Good game, gentlemen. Well played. Now, we were on the City Fight board today.
Yep.
First time we've featured that, so we've got amazing Forge World Realm of Battle tiles, all painted by Liam at Phoenix Commission, so thank you, Liam, for doing that for us. And also Griff at Unreal Wargaming Terrain supplied all of the larger, kind of more larger buildings there. So Griff, thank you so much. Amazing job. I think it was a good table to play on, gents.
Oh, incredible,
Excellent table.
Really, really nice table, yeah.
Good stuff. So, Matt, we'll start with you. I was rooting for you. You know, you've got Mechanicum allies. I was deeply upset when the 2 Castellax were taken down. But,
me too.
But tell me about your game.
So yeah, really good game. I think the strength in the list and in the Iron Warriors is the fact that you don't take morale from shooting, so you can stand there and take hits all day. They do lack some close combat capability. So once someone gets in your face, it becomes a bit more of a problem. they had quite a weak first turn, really good second turn. Wasn't able to just get through the amount of bodies that I had to get through to stop those victory points racking up, and then wasn't able, like you say, to pick off those units because I had bigger things to worry about. Pleased that I took the fire raptor down. It's always nice to take down a flyer.
Yeah.
Well, it was easy when it's dropped into hard mode for you. But yeah, great game, and I think the Havocs definitely earned their pay for today.
You brought them back, haven't you? So
Absolutely.
they were a really great unit, and you had so much firepower coming in. You know, it's some great range, and it was a pretty solid list, if I'm honest. And Michael, Sam.
Using Michael's list.
You are using Michael's list, yeah. Again, thanks to Michael for supplying his Ultramarines. But I think crucially, for me, your deployment was really great. You mitigated a lot of Matt's firepower by deploying on the opposite end of the board.
That's it. Yeah, that was a big move. The big intention, obviously, was to take the weakest flank, I suppose, and then be able to sweep through, which is exactly sort of how it panned out, which was nice.
Yeah, it did a great job.
Yeah.
And that Leviathan, that poor thing, just running around without its claw. I mean, that was a sad moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty disheartening, but it definitely did the job even without the claw, which is always nice to see.
He did all right, didn't he? He did really, really well. Highlights for me, I think it was just close all along the game. You know, there was points exchanged all over the game. You know, the Ultramarines had so many points to get on those objectives.
Yeah.
And those Seekers that you've brought back, they did a really awesome job, didn't they?
Yeah, the Seekers were brilliant. It was a real toss-up between the Seekers and the Sicaran because they both dealt quite a bit of damage, but the Seekers ultimately were the team that conformed most to capturing the objectives. And I think they most embody the army. It's more of a Swiss Army knife army in that it's catering for virtually everything, and the Seekers absolutely did that. They used their different types of ammo and basically did everything they could have done.
Yeah, they did a great job. I was obviously I run Mechanicum, and my dark fire cannon on those Castellaks, they are straight into any Sicaran. I always suffer so much damage at the hands of those things, and yeah, the Sicaran really dealt it out this game.
Oh yeah, the
didn't
Sicaran, was like I say, brutal.
Did an awesome job. Well, gents, all that remains to say is, again, two really amazing armies on here. You know, Matt and Sam, thank you so much for coming up.
Thanks for having us on.
You're in Nottingham Derby way, so you're fairly close to Peterborough.
Yeah, close enough to come for some visits,
Yes, we'll get you some more games. And again, thank you to Michael for lending Sam his army and for us to use it. So really appreciate that. Hopefully your engagement went well today. We don't know what you're up to, but hopefully it was good. Loads of photos were taken from this game, so if you want to see some more photos, please go to the Facebook page. Now, Ultramarines can be on Instagram as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so this is Mike's Instagram. It's Legion __XIII or Legion 13.
Fantastic, and that'll pop up on the screen for you guys to take down.
Latin.
Please go and follow Michael and give him some support. If there's any questions about this, you can contact him direct, or you can contact the channel and we'll try and answer them for you. What else have we got to say? That's it.
That's it. Good game. Well
played.
played.
Yeah, very well played. Yeah, great games.
Great stuff. All right, I hope you guys at home enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next game.